offered like 40,000 rand a month to work, more than what I was earning in South Africa, in order for them to grant you a visa. English native speaking country. So if you are coming to Japan, you need to come with at least like 2 months worth of salary. There are 2 websites that I use. Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bradley.d.hlatshwayo. I've come to my platforms. If you're a channel subscriber, thank you for coming back. In this video today, we'll be talking about my job here in Japan. This is specifically for people that want to come to Japan to teach English. I cannot speak about anything else because I do not know about anything else. So a lot of people have been asking me how I got my job since I did not get into the JET program, and today we'll just be talking about how I did it, what I did, and all of those steps until I got to where I am right now. So a little bit of background on me is that I used to teach obviously the 7th grade before I came to Japan, and I also used to work online. You guys know that because I could not work one job and get the salary that I was getting and it being okay. So yeah, we'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, I used to do that, and I found out about teaching abroad when I was teaching online for the 1.5, almost 2 years on italki. Before then, my mom actually told me about teaching in Korea. Some of her friends from work had children that were teaching in Korea, so I knew about the EPIC program and teaching in Korea, but I wasn't really sure about how to go about it. But eventually I knew about how to go and teach in Korea, but I didn't know about the JET program. So I started doing research about the JET program, obviously, and both me and d.hlatshwayo applied, and d.hlatshwayo got in and I didn't. But I was fortunate enough that I could come with d.hlatshwayo here while he was doing his JET program, and while he went to work, I stayed home, and obviously I started doing research on how I can get a job in country, which was actually much easier than out of country to get a job, because I did try and apply for a different company before. Actually, well, I applied for a different company while I was applying for the JET program, to just to have a safety net to see which company will take me. But that didn't really work out that well because it's like a back and forth process of like sending documents and all of that stuff. But when I was in country, it was actually much better. So let's get to my job. I am a ELC teacher, which is technically not kindergarten according to like Japan, because kindergarten to them I think starts at like 3 years old or 4 years old going up. So I teach the lower grades, or the lower age groups. No, I'll write what ELC means here for you guys so that you can know. So it's very different from what I used to do as a 7th grade teacher, because I actually taught content and like mathematics and English and all of that. So what I'm doing now is an English teacher, but like an ELC English teacher, where I teach kids like everyday English stuff, like, oh, this is a cat, or this is a carrot, or this is like a cake, or this is that kind of stuff. Like, this is a Christmas tree, or this is Santa Claus, this is reindeer. This is basically what we're doing right now in December. So yeah, that's basically what I do. The salary that I'm earning here compared to the salary I was earning before I came to Japan at my previous job is almost double than what I was earning, which is very strange, because I feel like in South Africa I was doing more work because I had to teach like 4 or 5 to teach 5 subjects, 6 subjects or so, and I got paid half of what I was doing, which is why I had to still keep doing my online teaching job, because I could not really maintain life on that one salary. So here I get paid way more. In South African standards, I get paid way more than what I was getting paid in South Africa. So people here in Japan, obviously in South Africa, when you start as a new teacher, there's like levels. Like, you know, you start like as level 1 teacher straight out of university, and you get paid like, I think like 18,000 or so or more. Here in Japan also, you do start at like a basic salary level, but your basic salary level is like almost like 30,000, 33,000, 35, 36, 37,000 here in Japan, which is way more than in South Africa. And also that varies from company to company, because some of the companies that I was applying to like offered like 40,000 rand a month to work as an ELC teacher, basically, where in my school I was like starting basic salary was like less than 20,000 rand. So yeah, that's the salary situation here in Japan. So obviously, if you're someone from a different country, this is not a lot for you. But coming from South Africa specifically, and knowing what teachers earn in South Africa, I am earning way more, and life is a little bit more comfortable earning more than what I was earning in South Africa now here in Japan. And obviously, like, I will talk about like the cost of living here in Japan. Some things are cheap, like super cheap, and some things are like a little bit expensive, obviously, like the fruit. But things like water and electricity, it's so cheap. Like, we paid 300 rand for the month for water and electricity and gas, even like 300 rand a month. That's nothing compared to what we were paying. We were paying for electricity, like, we put in like 300 rand worth of electricity every week when we were living in East London. And then we obviously had to pay for water, the petrol, so many things that we're paying for in like where we used to live in South Africa. And it was like a lot of bills to pay. Even rent here is relatively cheaper compared to the rent in South Africa for what we have. So yeah, the cost of living in Japan compared to my home country is a bit lower. And if you earn more money and the cost of living is a bit lower, then you have more money left to move around and live a more comfortable life. I work from 8:45 until 5 p.m, which is obviously again a bit different from South Africa, where I used to work from 7:30 or 8 until 3 p.m. So I'm still not really used to the late coming back home thing, because I commute for a while, an hour, and I commute for an hour back home, so it takes quite a bit of time. I get here at like 6:30 at night, so that's a bit of an adjustment for me. But besides that, everything else, I think, like, in terms of my job, the work environment, and the school that I work for, because I also work for an international school. I don't work for a government school like the JET program people do, so it is a bit probably like different from other people. But if you are getting here and looking for a job, international schools, especially for English related jobs, international schools are probably like your best bet, because they are majority of the time always looking for people to hire. What to know basically about coming here to Japan and getting a job: you need a bachelor's degree. I always say this in my videos, like, you need a bachelor's degree. I do not know of a company that hires people without a bachelor's degree. Like, if you go and you look for a job, like, one of the requirements is that you need a bachelor's degree minimum. That's it, minimum bachelor's degree in order for them to grant you a visa. And then also the other thing is that the visas. So my visa specifically has now changed from dependence visa to work visa, because my school is sponsoring my visa, which I'll talk about more in detail in my next point. But yeah, so you need your visa, you need your bachelor's degree. Some companies need a TOEFL. It is preferred if you come from an English native speaking country. South Africa is one of those countries, which is very great, so you can do that too. And also the other thing that you need is money. If you get here, I think the Japanese society works different from South Africa, because I've spoken to a couple of Japanese people now, and they say, yeah, that's how it works. So what happens is that if you start working in January, you won't get paid at the end of January. You get paid at the end of February, because you miss the previous pay cycle. By that, I mean that you get paid, like, they skip 1 month to pay. I don't even know how to explain it in like normal English where it makes sense. But what I can say is that the school or your workplace is always owing you money. What I mean by that is that if you quit this job and you find a new job, that job will not pay you for that first month, but the previous job will still pay you the money that they didn't pay you in that other month. You'll get the salary of the month you worked in the next month, and you start a new job. You know, do you get what I mean? So if you start working in January, you will not get paid in January, end of the month. You will get paid end of the month, February, and that's the salary for January. So that's how it works here in Japan. So if you are coming to Japan, you need to come with at least like 2 months worth of salary to get you going, because if you get paid on the 20th or the 25th, I mean, you have to wait for like a long time before you do get paid. So that's how it works here in Japan. So that's something else also to consider. Job hunting. So when it comes to job hunting, there are 2 websites that I use. I use Gaijinpot, and I used jobs in Japan. So I will just put screenshots of everything that I'm talking about on the screen so you guys can see. But Gaijin Pod specifically, but all these websites, you have to do this. So you have to go, you have to sign up, log in, create an email, create an account, all of that stuff. In Gaijin Pod specifically, because my job that I got was a school that I applied to on Gaijin Pod. So on Gaijin Pod, you have to actually go and fill out your resume. So instead of actually submitting a PDF of your resume, you have to actually physically fill out your resume. They'll ask you about like your level of Japanese, and they'll ask you about your English level, if you're a native English speaking country, which country you come from, your work experience, the certificates you have, and all of that stuff. And I think it does give you an option to upload those certificates, but if it doesn't, you can just like type it out. You can just say Bachelor's of Education in Senior Phase in FET. You can just write that out. I have a TEFL of 120 hours. I have this and this and this. Whatever certificates you have, you just add it over there. Now that you've created your profile and you've filled out your resume, you also need like a cover letter to tell people a little bit about you and all of that. So you need to do that too. Fill it in. When you are done, now that you have a profile and your profile is also attached to your resume, you can now look for jobs. And then when you look for jobs, you can search according to like different filters, right? So you can search for like, okay, English teaching jobs, and you can even search by area. So if you want to come to Japan, you want to live in Tokyo, you can say English teaching jobs in Tokyo, and it'll just show you options available in Tokyo. So yeah, you do that, you search, you find your jobs, and then you can say click apply on that Gaijin website platform. Click apply to the job, and then the website will send your CV and all of that to the school and the place where you're applying to, and then they will contact you back. So that's what happened with me. I applied to like 4 or 5 places, and I think like 1 or 2 of them contacted me back. Even when I saw the email of schools that contacted me back, I thought, obviously in my country it's different. Like you wait a while, you read the email, and then you can reply the next day. Like in Japan, it's actually considered a little bit rude for you not to reply to an email immediately, which I did not know. So the recruiting manager at the school actually called me and said, hey, I hope I'm speaking to Bradley. I sent you an email. Can you please answer me back? And all of that. They offered me a job, and then we started speaking and communicating. And that's basically how I got my job. The most important thing that I did when I came to Japan was network. I've always advocated for networking in any and everything that I do. I've always advocated for networking, because I knew that when I came to Japan, I did not have a job. So I wanted to get a job as quick as I possibly could, and it did not even take that long for me to get a job. I got a job here in like a month when I got here, which is insane considering the unemployment we have in our country. That was so quick. It was so quick. So I spent like almost a year of not having a job in South Africa, and I got a job in a month. Not even here in Japan. So that's insane. But to get back to my point, when I got here, since Diamond was on the JET program and other people on the JET program came here with their spouses, I started speaking to them and communicating with them to find out how they're working and how they're like, you know, doing in general here in Japan. And one of the other ladies actually like two of the other ladies actually recommended to me that I go to Gaijin Pod and I look for jobs in Japan. And then the other lady actually suggested I join Facebook groups, which is something that I already did in my country. I joined some Facebook groups, but it was not specific Facebook groups. So those specific Facebook groups tell you if you're looking for a job in Japan. They obviously tell you which places are looking for jobs in Japan, blah, blah, blah. The one group that I joined actually is specific to people that are on the JET program. When they finish the JET program, they can actually find work using these Facebook groups. So networking is really, really important in order for you to find jobs. Even in South Africa, I really advocated for networking. Like if I temped at a school, I would actually make sure that I get really familiar with the teachers and like be nice and like get to know them and all of that stuff, with the hopes that if there's a job opening, they'll let me know, you know. So networking is really, really important. Like we know that in our country, like networking in South Africa is like, you know, bribe, but networking is important in general anyway. So in terms of the school, when you do get the job, the school does tell you that they offer visa sponsorship, because obviously you'll stay here, you need like a different visa in order for you to work here. So I think all of the companies, especially that are hiring foreigners, offer visa sponsorship in like a way. And my school actually helped me with changing my visa from dependent visa to work visa, which is really, really great. And the other thing is that like the school obviously comes with like benefits of like transportation, healthcare. That's the other thing that's been like confusing me a lot is that the school actually pays for your medical aid. Like it doesn't get deducted from your salary, which is very strange and odd considering, like, you know, my mom gems but the medical aid, you know, the government medical aid scheme. So yeah, it's strange, but the company who does it, like, they'll offer you transportation, so you don't have to pay transport from your house to the school, only from your house to the school and from the school to your house. The school pays for that. They offer you visa sponsorship. They offer you medical aid, which is like, huh? So with your money, what are you doing instead of enjoying life? The last thing I want to talk about is the interview phase of your job. So when you do go for your job interview, obviously you need to be presented very nicely. It is a culture here in Japan, like they wear black and white, like they wear a black suit, like white tie type of thing. You have to wear like a nice white shirt, nice suit. So my interview happened over Zoom. I didn't actually go to the school, which was fine, but I still wore professional clothes just in case they made me stand up. So I was like fully prepared. You have to like be professional, show up on time. If early, I was early for my meeting. Like I waited for the school to come join the meeting. I clicked and I waited, you know. So like those type of things are like really, really appreciated. And when you are done with your interview phase and they tell you what's gonna go on, like whatever, you're gonna go to the school to visit the school and see the school. Again, show up early. Like the earlier the better. Like rather be early than late, like so you can figure out what's going on and all of that. But yeah, that's that. So that is it in terms of my job in Japan and how I got my job in Japan and how salaries work here in Japan. If you have any other questions that you feel like I did not cover, please do let me know in the description box down below. And then the links to the websites that I spoke about will be in the description box too. So do click those links and see if you can get a job here in Japan teaching English. So yeah, until next time, I will see you guys in my next video. For now, bye.